Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld, your voice of reason in a cloud of unreason. To the tease, please. We asked the great actor Owen Wilson about his thoughts on Trump. Does he have some? Spoiler alert, he has some. Hillary Clinton, is she all pants and no suit as her campaign turns to panic mode? Plus, a book students are claiming is pornographic because it contains scenes about masturbation and oral sex, two topics that I find disgusting. I've missed you, America. Let's get started.
He slipped over the last couple of weeks.
And he will be remembered very negatively for it by historians.
He'll fade away.
He's not preparing for this.
I don't think we've seen anything yet.
So as the love for Biden starts to widen, is it time to pillory Hillary? She's already begun the charm offensive.
Well, let me answer one of your questions because I think that's what you are entitled to. Well, let me answer one of your questions because I think that's what you are entitled to. 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 That's what you are entitled to.
Well, maybe not charming, but offensive. It's panic in a pantsuit as the coronation turns to annihilation as Benghazi binds to her like stick 'em on Lester Hayes. She's now the political equivalent of marginal royalty from a forgotten European country, smugly entitled, but no one cares. Her crimes: 1, she mistook the cause of terror, blaming Benghazi on a video, seeking a scapegoat instead of assuming responsibility. 2, she treated classified info the way her husband treats women, casually disposable. In this age when there's no monopoly on mayhem, we need careful, not careless. 3, she put personal privacy before public security. The way Bill used the Secret Service, she used the Secret Server, both to create a wall between prying eyes. So, no surprise, in a new poll, when Americans are asked what word best describes her, they scream liar, followed by dishonest, then untrustworthy. I think I notice a trend. To Americans, she's less dependable than your cable guy. Meanwhile, as she implodes, Biden basks, a white knight with whitened teeth. But as nice as Joe is, it reveals the sober truth. No one wants Hillary. Look at the other options. Sanders, Warren, Jerry Brown. It's a line of loony leftists who recast past horribles as progressive solutions. And so Hillary ratchets up the rhetoric.
Extreme views about women, we expect that from some of the terrorist groups. But it's a little hard to take coming from Republicans who want to be the president of the United States.
I know that there are some on the other side who are seriously advocating to deport 11, 12 million people who are working here and literally pull people out of their homes and their workplaces, round them up, put them, I don't know, in buses, boxcars.
Boxcars. So Republicans are not just terrorists, but also Nazis. I guess she forgot to mention pedophiles, but maybe she can tweet about that later.
Period.
Let's welcome tonight's guest. Well, he's so sharp, he's not allowed within 50 feet of a waterbed. It's Ben Domenech, co-founder of The Federalist. And she's so bright, children are told to not look directly at her because they will go blind. It's Julie Roginsky, Fox News contributor and political consultant. And he's as funny as a whoopee cushion filled with joy buzzers. It's the very tall comedian, Ben Kissel. He is tall. I'm not kidding. He's seated, but he's tall. And she's just here because she can't remember which way is home. The always drunk Joanne Nosuchinsky. And her glasses are as real as the president's birth certificate. It's our op-ed Katherine Timpf from National Review. And back again, looking as stiff as ever, it's the gloomy liberal panel. All right, first question to you, Kissel, because it's your first time on the show, and I like to break people in.
All right.
You can telegraph exactly what she's about to say. You're a comedian, right? You can see it coming when she's about to what she's about to say.
You know, when you're a writer and you write a great joke and then you give it to somebody that delivers it horribly, you just feel like you threw it down a tunnel and you're like, why do I even bother?
Yes.
It's awful. The writers must hate her. All they want her to do is be funny,
yes.
And she fails every single time.
Yes. But you know, it's like once you started, you knew the boxcar was coming up. You knew the terrorist line was coming up because she sets it up and it's so depressing. Julie, I know you love her and you love her dearly. Is this rhetoric a strategy to deflect from the email?
Yes, it is absolutely a way to deflect from the other issues. But, you know, I have to say, unless you're really talking about the Holocaust, we were talking about terrorists, the real ones, of the real Holocaust.
Yeah.
Don't make analogies. That's not cool. I don't like it.
But
Yeah.
aren't
Disagree.
girls flocking to ISIS? Was it a compliment? I read it. I like to see the bright side.
You just broke my doctrine, man. You just violated it sitting right next to me.
Those two Australian girls. Girls are going crazy for ISIS. They can't get enough.
You know what they are? They're the Leif Garrett and David Cassidy of this generation. They're all, it's like they have posters everywhere. They're the hot guys.
They're fangirling.
Yeah, they're fangirling until they get there, and then they realize.
But that's the thing. That's what Hillary's saying. Like, to make that sort of comparison, it's not only like bad taste, but it's just wrong. I mean, women here have rights, So even if you think that
They do.
I think so.
Okay, keep going.
I've been taking advantage of something lately. even if you think that the GOP, is kind of, not up with the times, or not with the modern age with women, we still have rights, and we still agree that women are equal to men.
All right, I want the other Ben. See, I have two Bens here. It's confusing.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this? It seems like the Democrats are circling around her like vultures. They sense vulnerability. And now she's acting like Trump in a way.
If the past couple of weeks have not convinced Joe Biden to get into this race, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just from looking at the perspective, everything that she is telegraphing here is weakness. It's just this lackluster approach to things, using these extreme analogies. It's just not something that you expect from a serious presidential candidate. And to your point, I think this is just not an accurate comparison. When you get right down to it, I mean, especially at a time when there are so many terror attacks going down around the world, it's just a comparison.
Crazy analogies are not what you expect from a serious
that's
candidate.
funny. It's funny you say that. Yes.
Because there's another front runner in another party that I could think
We're going to get to that in a second, but there is actually, I hate to say it, there is a fair point about how do you deport 11 million people?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You don't.
You don't. Yeah.
You just try to get people's votes during a primary.
Exactly.
Well, actually, there's a great new proposal from Chris Christie. He wants FedEx to track them. Did you hear that? He said he wants the head of FedEx, Fred Smith, to teach the United States how to track them like a FedEx package. That's a fabulous idea, Governor.
Well, that's on all of his
Process them, scan
burritos
them.
that he shoves down his mouth to be tracked as well, so we get a ticker going.
No, that's just fattest. I want to get Katherine into this. When when Hillary referred to Republicans as terrorists and then kind of as Nazis, how many people did she demean?
Well, according to 2014 data, there were 245,273,438 people over the age of 18 in the U.S. So 27% of those are Republicans, so the math is super easy. Just do it in my head. It's 66,223,828.26 people.
Technically, I'm 0.26.
Yeah, because you're short.
Yeah,
I get
I'm short.
it.
And Kissel's like 1.9.
Yeah, that's
true.
Curse.
None of the tall jokes work at home because he's seated. All right, I want to talk about Donald Trump. He's basically the Snoop Dogg of politics. He's always reaching a new high every week. In a recently released Quinnipiac University poll, Trump leads with 28% support among Republicans, up from 20% last month. Dr. Ben Carson's at 12%, which is good. Time for 7%, you got Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. Dominic, okay. His numbers are still rising. I have a theory that it's a machine of perpetual promotion.
Yes.
That the more he rises, the more we cover him,
Yes.
and that causes him to rise more, and it just keeps going. And I don't know when it's going to stop.
It's really crazy, and he has inflated his numbers significantly. It's kind of like some of your opponents in the pageant world, I think, in Miss USA. But not you, of course, John.
Not me.
But the real thing is, I think, the question is how real is this, And I think that it isn't real, but it is spectacular to see.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a reaction that a lot of people are giving right now when they're at home sitting in their chairs. They get a call from a pollster and they say, "Sure, yeah, I'm for Donald."
Fun.
He's
this
the one
is
who's
fun. This
actually
is more fun
saying
than
things.
politics. You know what it is, Kissel? It's like he's football and the other candidates are soccer.
Right.
You like the quarterback sacks. You don't like corner kicks.
Exactly. He's playing politics as it should be played, a full contact sport, and he even has a helmet, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? I really believe this. We were watching a revolutionary event. Calvin Coolidge was the first president to really embrace radio. Kennedy dominated television. He understands the medium. Donald Trump is the first Twitter candidate. He actually tweets. He uses social
And the
media
depth
himself.
of 140 characters, too, to all of his positions.
It doesn't matter. He can make gaffe after gaffe after gaffe because they cancel themselves out. But as Reagan was the first real actor president, he is the first reality show president. And in this era, it's resonating.
So you don't
think
think
I think it's real. I think it's real.
You don't think that it's just about attacking foreigners, then?
No, I think, you look at his tax plan, and it's actually relatively progressive. There's some, and he doesn't, I'm a person who is pretty center. He does not care about He's pro-life. He's not going to really do anything about the issue.
Yeah.
He's a New Yorker from Queens. Social issues, I don't think he
I think he doesn't care about a lot of issues. He just says these things, and he's enjoying himself.
I think
he's having fun.
I don't think he cares about being president. I think this is all a brand-building exercise.
Do you think he even wants to be president?
No, I don't.
Who would want to live in the White House? It's
No,
not classy. It's not big. It's a very
It's
very
cute.
tiny.
You know what? Have you
Fabulous.
seen the Trump Taj Mahal? Now that is beautiful, my friend. The White House.
Well, I mean,
not-
he'll get the basketball court out of there. He'll put in a casino.
There'll be a huge
you sort of
Trump
with a
across
bowling
the White
ball.
House.
Yeah.
So this sounds pretty good. I want to get the liberal panel in here because I haven't heard much from him today. What are your thoughts on Hillary's huge decline? Huge decline.
Greg Gutfeld, you racist gun freak who hates the poor. Let me tell you about Hillary Clinton. She's going to be an amazing president, and I want you to know that when she wins in November 2016, I'll be here for you, buddy.
Hey, I want to ask KT, what is Quinnipiac? Why are we always quoting them?
Well, because they're one of the largest university polling centers. They're bigger than other academic polling centers, and large is in charge.
All right, that was fun. Still to come, we've got Owen Wilson, Colin Quinn, and the return of Gregmail. But first, let's check in with our studio audience. Thank you all for being here. A quick show of hands. How many of you wish you'd met me years ago when I was still single? Yeah, I get that a lot. Sorry, I'm taken. I have a theory. Job references are worthless. After the shocking murders on live TV of Adam Ward and Allison Parker by Vester Flanagan, we find out that the killer was, no surprise, and a lunatic. The scum falsely smeared his victims as racist, but his past reveals that racial accusations were his shtick to extort and frighten employers. I hate discussing crazed loners, but this one speaks to a truth I've always suspected. No one gives honest job references ever. At his various jobs, he had a reputation for threatening behavior. At one point, the sales staff at one place actually hid from him in a locked office. He left a string of perpetrated accusations and conflicts, and he was a terrible worker. So how did he keep getting jobs? He didn't get bad references even when HR recommended he seek help. He didn't get bad references even when people complained about him. The reason, bad references that tip off future employers might get you sued, or worse, called racist. Mayor Giuliani hinted at this on F&F.
And the employer was probably afraid because of EEOC and everything else to call the police and say, hey, this guy sounds kind of dangerous. He looks kind of dangerous. It looks like he had a couple of fights. He was a violent guy.
But see, we live in a time where we are intimidated from the truth and forced into lies of omission just to avoid the hassle of the roving hordes of grievance merchants. So people push this ghoul from job to job, making him someone else's problem, a problem that eventually killed people.
Period.
All right, Julie, is this a problem that just cannot be solved?
I'm going to teach you how to give the best bad job reference ever.
Okay.
So ring, ring. Hi, do you want to hire Greg? Should we hire Greg Gutfeld? You worked with him. What do you think? Here's the way to do it by shivving you in the back without actually saying anything negative. I don't know. Who else are you looking at? That's how you do it. That lets people know that you should probably take a look at somebody other than Greg Gutfeld, but Greg Gutfeld can't come and kill me because I didn't say anything bad about him.
That's good.
That's pro tip. Thank you.
I mean, why do we have to, play games?
Because I don't want him to come and kill me.
Because you'll get sued.
Because of victimhood culture. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's all this escalating victimhood that this guy sort of accepted as being part of his life, this kind of constant thing. The whole world is against me. Everybody's a racist. And he's
it worked for him.
But it worked.
I don't play Sudoku because I don't understand how games work. I don't know codes. I don't know anything like that.
Okay, so you take numbers and you put them in an order with a pencil. You got to use pencil.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's Sudoku.
Perfect. Got it now.
Yeah, well, there you go. Did you want to make a point after that?
No, it was just, people are very confused because no one's allowed to actually express what they say, so everyone talks in codes. It's like ending a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like you hate each other for a full year.
People are children. Because people are children. They just can't take anything nowadays
But
without...
I have a solution
to
your theory, and I don't know why this hasn't been developed yet. Why isn't there Yelp for employees that employers can use to rate the people that
Uber does that.
So Amazon does this actually internally. The problem is that it leads to like apparently a culture where everybody's always sniping at each other.
And a really
behind the
bad
scenes.
New York Times story.
Yeah,
that makes you look really bad. Yeah.
All right, I want to move on to this other story because I don't have much time. So while one was planning murder in Virginia last week, another was on a Paris-bound train. Despite being on 3 terror watch lists, this Islamist still managed to board the train with weapons. Thanks to some fearless Americans, a Brit and a Frenchman, the carnage was prevented. But their bravery also reminds me that heroism is awesome and the government failed. European officials are now scrambling to figure out how to increase security in public areas. The bottom line, in my mind, is that we have to recommit to national security because we can't rely on strangers on a train. This story was a great story, Ben, but it just I don't like the fact that security is dependent on heroes. They should be dependent on people like me who hide. I hide.
See, actually, in D.C. a few weeks ago, there was actually a murder that happened in one of the trains there where nobody stood up and defended a guy. This is, heroism like this, you have to applaud it. And I think the most important thing is to think about it ahead of time. But Amtrak is concerned now about security. They're thinking about what they're going to do differently. They're really concerned that if ridership increases, that they're going to have to apply like TSA type stuff. But they have a great policy toward it, which is never increase ridership and do anything to make people actually
They're very good at that.
So they're very good at it. They've been doing it for years.
We pay Amtrak billions, don't we?
Billions.
Yeah.
And they're filthy. If I was a terrorist, I'd walk down there and I would think someone already blew it up and I'd just walk right out. I would think the job was already done.
That is...
When I was in kindergarten, there was a boy and he was picking on a girl that I really, really liked. And you know what I did? I sat on him. So if I ever see a terrorist on an Amtrak, 6'7", Ben Kissel, you're getting sat on, my friend, and I'm not going to get suspended for this time.
Joanne, I would hide behind him. He's tall.
But that's the thing. So, like this case with these heroes on this train, they were trained for things like this. The see something, say something, or do something only works if you're prepared to do so.
Yeah.
But I think we need to focus on more than like scanners before you get on a train is the surveillance. This guy, this terrorist, was known by authorities in 3 different countries and slipped through cracks. So we need to look at why that is and how we can keep tabs on these people.
Speaking of slipping through cracks, that goes back to the earlier story about the employee Kat. I want to ask you, how can any kind of company do something? Why don't former employers give job references?
Well, a lot of employers have policies to say as little as possible so you don't get sued. But I do agree with Ben Kissel that we should all just be more open about our feelings. Talk about them as much as possible and, make decisions based on honest feelings.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Liberal panel, do you have anything constructive to add about the terror, the heroism that you would no doubt never express on a train?
I think a solid conservative idea would be to just park an army in every single train station.
That's actually what I would do.
Yeah, no, that's
that.
Conservative thinking.
Before we go, I want to make a point. This was a reminder. Was what you call a free reminder of vulnerability. Nobody died, but we should actually pretend that a bunch of people died because we would take it more seriously if 200 people were shot and killed. But instead, these guys saved everybody, so nobody remembers happy endings. They don't.
Not this kind.
Not this kind.
I had to.
I know. I saw that joke coming.
It was too easy. It was too easy.
All right, we got to move on. Coming up, my interview with Owen Wilson. We talked about the controversy surrounding his new movie, The Rise of Donald Trump, and his brother Andrew. His brother Andrew is awesome.
Out there, we need to move.
What?
I get that. Yeah, come on. There's a tank. Right here. Go, go. Come on.
Well, that's a look at the new film No Escape, which hit theaters this week. It's about an American businessman who moves his family to Southeast Asia only to get caught in the middle of a political uprising. We've all been there. Earlier, as part of one of those satellite junkets, I interviewed the great actor, writer, and producer Owen Wilson. He appeared interested, or maybe he was faking it. Either way, we're engaged. Now, if you excuse me, I have to change out of my suit and put on a blue sweater. Owen, good to see you. I've been a big fan of yours since '96 when you wrote Bottle Rocket. You wrote Bottle Rocket, co-wrote Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums. I have to ask you, what's your favorite line that you've written that you're most proud of?
Well, you mentioned Bottle Rocket. There's a line where I say, this ain't no trip to Cleveland, which I wish I could say that I wrote, but we actually got it from a Miami Vice that Sonny Crockett says. And a lot of the lines that I like that I ended up putting in scripts end up being sort of homages to something else.
Well, if you're going to steal from Miami Vice, a classic TV show. Now, so your new movie, No Escape, it's like a family movie that's an action film, like Vacation. It's like Vacation that involves peasant rebels trying to behead you. Now, when you read this script...
Yeah, it was the director and the writer were sort of kidding me, saying, you bring the dad from Marley and me, and we'll bring the unrest from Southeast Asia.
Yes. Now, of course, when I watch these movies, I envision the actor going through it and thinking, wow, there's a lot of running. Do you ever notice that, oh, there's a lot of running? Do I really want to do this?
I actually end up sort of, I wish I had had a Fitbit when I was doing this movie because, yeah, I definitely was doing a lot of running, but, it ends up being one of those things that it's easier to be out of breath than to act out of breath. So I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. Now, there's been some kind of controversy around the movie because in this day and age, you have to be very careful who the villains are. Why does everything always have to be political? Why does everything always have to become an outrage when clearly it's an entertainment vehicle? It's a movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose, that the movie could have, this family could have moved to Vancouver.
Yes.
And political unrest broke out there, but it wouldn't have been. It would have lost something.
Yes,
I
think if you had it in reverse, where an Asian family had moved to Texas, it would have been lauded by Peter Travers of Rolling Stone. But it got great reviews in the Village Voice. Now, you had some comments, speaking of politics, about Donald Trump's campaign. Does he excite you, intrigue you, or scare you?
Well, I think like everybody, I tuned into that first debate. And when is the last time that you tuned into a debate that was that early in the primaries with 10 people? And it's because of Trump. Because it's just interesting to see. You can't help but get a kick out of the guy to see somebody sort of. It's just unusual to see somebody speaking their mind like that.
He is actually kind of a more arrogant version of the Bill Murray character in Rushmore. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. That's why he's enjoyable.
The guy does not take a back step. I know. So, yeah, it's something else.
Would you vote for him, or would you just use him as entertainment value?
Yeah, well, I'm liberal, so yeah, I wouldn't be voting for him for president, but I do get a kick out of him.
Yeah, it's true. Charlie Sheen says he wants to be his running mate, so you would have a truther and a birther together.
Yeah,
which would be
Well, I actually was thinking, Charlie Sheen is sort of someone else that, so many actors, and me probably included, when you see them at press junkets, they almost sort of are reading from a script. And when Charlie Sheen was, kind of doing all those interviews a few years ago, that was very watchable because it was somebody who wasn't reading from the normal script.
Yeah, exactly. Brutal and refreshing. You're a family of actors. It's 3 siblings. But my favorite of the 3, is Andrew. He was Beef Supreme in Idiocracy, which was amazing. He was Coach Beck in Rushmore. But my favorite character of all time is Future Man in Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket, yeah.
Why?
Yeah, well, I'll pass your compliments on to Andrew. He's great.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it.
Yeah. What's the name Future Man? What was the significance?
Future Man, I call him Future Man and Bottle Rocket because I believe in the future that's what everybody will look like. And
he was a great bully, an amazing bully.
You know, another great bully, and sort of in that same vein, was it Chet from Weird Science?
Yes.
The Bill Paxton character.
Fantastic.
And Andrew had sort of a similar look.
Yeah, yeah. Bill Paxton actually was a great kind of weirdo in True Lies too. People forget about that. He's a really good.
He's great.
He's slimy. He's great at being slimy.
Yeah, he's great in Alien, or
Yes.
it was Aliens, I think, the second one.
Yeah.
And then he's great in, he's been great in so many movies.
All right. Oh, and I got to go. Congratulations on No Escape. It's getting really good reviews, and all the best of luck to you as well. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Owen. Like he can hear me. Still to come, an offensive fraternity, Colin Quinn, and the return of Gregmail. If that doesn't excite you, then nothing can help you, ever. Welcome to Greg's Back to School Silly Bus. That's where I address some recent campus controversies. This week, a fraternity at Old Dominion University, Go Hedgehogs, was suspended after hanging sexually suggestive signs welcoming new students, including "Hope your baby girl is ready for a good time" and "Freshman daughter drop off." These signs made national headlines, but it turns out you can find this sort of stuff on campuses all over the country. I am shocked. Here's one from Ohio State that reads, "Dads will take it from here," along with a fellow who looks to be in great shape there. This creepy one from Georgia Southern University reads, "21 to drink, 18-ish to spend the night." How horrible is this? And from West Virginia University, they have one there. "She called you daddy for 18 years now. It's our turn." Clearly, these are classy gentlemen. What do you expect? I don't know. Maybe this topic should have called, "What do you expect?" But is it bad? It's awful, sad?
No, I mean, I think it's bad that they can't spell.
Yes,
That's actually the bigger problem.
Students, right?
Yes.
But really what we're seeing here is what would actually happen if Bill Clinton and Sandra Fluck walked up into the same party at the same time.
God.
I mean, this is and this is the sort of thing that I actually just find laughable because, you know, it's stuff that's been going on for years.
You have children or a child,
I
Julie?
do.
See, this actually worries me because I have a niece that just went in as a freshman in college, and she's sharing an entire dorm with a football team. That worries me.
I cannot wait for my child to go to college.
Why?
I cannot wait to get a good night's sleep. If you can go to college for 3-year-olds tomorrow, I'd send him off there.
Yeah.
I don't care. He wants to hang up sheets, hang him up. I just need some sleep, man.
That's selfish.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and I'm proud of it.
All right, Joanne, do these, but there's a real problem, right?
Well, I think the problem was that this fraternity was suspended.
Yeah.
Or got in trouble for it, which it was a private home that they're hanging this from, and not necessarily everyone in the home belongs to the fraternity. So I think, like, legally there might be an issue there. If anything, you give the group a warning. I don't think suspending them is the right thing to do. But I like the signs. It's like a Sloman shield for women. Don't come in this house.
Ah, good point.
Good point.
Good point.
You know, frat boys are all fat.
Is that because you couldn't get into a frat? I see little personal. Is there a personal?
I never wanted to. No.
Oh, I never wanted to be in a frat.
You were in a drama club.
I don't have to buy friends. I'm very charming, you see. So no, but I'll tell you, I wish I had a daughter, and I wish I was dropping her off at Old Dominion because I would have gone Liam Neeson. I would have kicked down that door, and I would have gone room by room, and I would have beat up every single one of them.
I just believe the Greek system is now the only official sanctioned villain left. Like that movie we just talked about, No Escape. It's been called racist because they're escaping Southeast Asia. If the family was escaping a fraternity, it would be okay. Kat, fraternity Sigma Nu, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
What's so special about them?
Bob Barker was a Sigma Nu.
Oh, wow.
You know who else was a Sigma Nu? Don Tyson, who was president and CEO of Tyson when they were skyrocketing as a food company.
Wow.
The fun-shaped Dino Nuggets. Kids love the fun shapes. Moms love the 100% white meat chicken and whole grain breading. Do you want to live in a world without Dino Nuggets?
It's Sigma Nutritional.
There you go.
Yes, thanks for the thumbs up. Okay. It's a summer read that's too hot to handle. That's not a cliche. Several incoming freshmen at Duke University are refusing to read the graphic novel Fun Home because they say it compromises their Christian beliefs. The best-selling memoir was adapted for Broadway and recently won 5 Tonys, which is an award not an Italian fellow, Joanne. Yeah. Some students are claiming the book is pornographic because it contains scenes of masturbation and oral sex, 2 topics that college students know nothing about. One student is refusing to read the book, says it's not about the story, but more about the illustrations, which is a nice way of saying pictures of naked stuff. Domenech, my feeling with this is the real problem is graphic novel. Why are you teaching graphic novels?
Exactly. I'm insulted by the fact that this is a graphic novel. I mean, just look at it. It has none of the virtues of actual porn, you know,
Yes.
which I'm sure that they're experts in anyway. And
Yes.
that, from my perspective, that's the insulting part. Plus, it's a graphic novel for summer reading. They're not even going to give them an actual book to read over the summer. And who does that reading anyway?
And who does graphic novels at the beach? By the way, I think, Julie, that the graphic novel is the new children's book. It's the step you take when you really don't want to write or read. Although the art is quite nice.
Interesting. I think these kids need to man up and maybe do the assignment and stop being such wusses.
Yes.
And, you know, you got into Duke. Congratulations. Now stop acting like an idiot. And be worthy of your alma mater.
There is a soccer mom in Poughkeepsie, 50 years old, reading 50 Shades of Grey, and she's like, it's a little too tame for me.
Yeah.
You know, and these kids who are, but what happened to the bold, strong freshmen? You know, these are supposed to be adults, right?
Yeah.
How is this too much for them?
But at least are these students trying to ban it?
But I don't think they're trying to ban it. They're just trying to say that they shouldn't have to read it. But you make a good point. The works of E.L. James would be much better, in my opinion, for them to read.
Have you read 50 Shades of Grey? As somebody who read 50 Shades of Grey,
And
man?
why are kids not
You know how the
wanting
story
to
ends?
see
I do
illustrations?
know how it ends.
I thought kids
Sorry.
love to see naked bodies and things. Why are kids saying, we don't want this?
What's
that makes
wrong with
no
kids
sense
these
to
days?
me. And it's important to be well-read. You don't have to like everything you read. It isn't propaganda. It's literature.
I think it is propaganda. I think it is propaganda. That's where you're wrong, Nosuchinsky. It's propaganda. I'm going to keep yelling at it until the liberal panel agrees with me. Isn't it propaganda? You push a lifestyle on college kids?
It's, you know, define propaganda.
I can't.
Look, sometimes scary and new ideas are, new ideas are scary, Greg. Sometimes new thoughts and new things are scary. These students are being scared by new ideas like, you know, wealth inequality is the result of largely Republican economic policy.
And yet your left-wing professors and those students there are trying to ban dangerous ideas, people from coming to speak on campus, which is worse.
Well, no, that's not true. We just want the right people to come speak on campus.
That's right.
Are these incoming freshmen to Duke?
Yes.
Can I give them a tip? Because they have not yet gone to Duke. I have partied at Duke. My friends, this is just the down payment on what you can expect for the next 4 years.
Wow.
So get used to it. Duke's a fun school.
Aren't you impressive?
I am very impressive. I didn't get in there. I wasn't smart enough.
Okay.
I just partied there once or twice. Let's be clear. Yeah.
College students really are acting like children, though, now, in all these different ways. And,
Yes.
you know, preventing comics from coming to campus, all these different things.
Yeah.
We shouldn't start doing it from the other direction now. We've seen it from the left.
That is a good point. You should, if you're a conservative, you got to loosen up because let them have the microaggressions. Let them have the safe spaces. Laugh at them for being so sensitive and fragile, and just laugh and then just ignore everything.
Why can't we figure out if you're a liberal, then you have to read Gods, Guns, and Grits?
Yeah.
But if you're a conservative, you have to read whatever this book is.
You know what? That's the problem. No one separated it. People don't mix. We need to mix everybody. All right. Up next, Colin Quinn on the end of the world. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Thumbs Up. Good for any situation where you want to communicate satisfaction, but don't want to overcommit and send the wrong idea. Thanks, Thumbs Up.
My next guest is not just a comedic legend, but also a deep thinker who just might have the solution to America's growing division and unrest. Or not, he could just be a comedic legend.
Establish justice, that laws, lawyers, lawsuits, ensure domestic tranquility. You know how much money it costs to keep 300 million people tranquil every year? You need jobs, you need, gadgets for everybody, food, antidepressants, tranquilizers.
Amazing sleeves. Colin Quinn is the star of Colin Quinn, Unconstitutional, which is now on Netflix. A very funny but powerful trip through American history that ends on a sobering note about our nation's decline. Meanwhile, his new tome, The Coloring Book, shows us how the subject of race has been polluted by increasing political correctness and oversensitivity. As an expert in woodwinds might say, it's a great read. Colin.
That's just indulgent. That's why you need a live crowd.
Yeah.
That last line out.
I had to add something. I had to add something terrible.
Good point.
All right.
You know.
Yes, Colin?
By the way, thanks for the clip, the most boring part of my whole hour-long hilarious special.
I picked it because of the cuffs.
What's that?
I picked it because of the cuffs.
It was the least offensive cuff shot.
Yes, your cuffs are like...
I'm the worst.
You're not married. That's proof, because your wife wouldn't have let you dress like that.
Or if I was gay, I wouldn't have dressed like that on my own.
Exactly.
You're right.
All right. So I watched Unconstitutional. It was a great one-man play. It's now on Netflix.
Thanks.
In your special, you seem to suggest that the country is headed in a direction in which it's coming apart. Do you see
It's finished.
It's finished.
This country's about to get divorced. You know, I did that show. First, I did it in the 13 colonies. It was kind of a hook, marketing hook.
Oh.
Yeah.
13 didn't work as well as I hoped it would financially, but. Then I did all of the kind of every show I talk about how we're going to break up as a country because I really do believe we're going to get divorced as a country because the center cannot hold, as the great Irish poet Yeats once said. And I'm kind of an ass, but then I went to Texas and I go, we're going to get divorced as a country. Most places are shocked. Texas, they start applauding.
Of course.
Texas really wants to be its own country.
They want to leave.
Yeah, they want to leave. But I think that so many people are probably going to learn about the Constitution, maybe hear about it for the first time from watching your special.
Well, is it memorized? Like, do you know
My
the
show?
entire Constitution?
Yeah, it's only 4 pages.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
All right.
4 pages.
Before I watch your show, will I understand your
No,
show
my
better?
show's better.
Okay.
Better that's a
than
good
the
question.
Constitution?
Better to watch my show than read the Constitution.
Okay.
My show is better than the Constitution in many ways.
Let's be
I hate to
honest.
say
It's written in a language that we don't understand. You know, it's hard to understand.
It's in English, actually.
Yeah, it's in English, just like the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a hard time reading the Bible.
I read it in Aramaic because of
Yes.
because of Mel Gibson.
Oh, really? That's beautiful. I stick to the Latin version.
Yeah.
When you say divorce, do you mean violent revolution?
No, not revolution. I mean a civil war. Probably like 5 civil wars.
Yes.
Probably like the Big East, the ACC.
Yes.
Pac-10. They still exist.
5 civil wars?
Yeah, 5 civil wars. What's wrong with that?
They're going to be civil.
The Apostle John. Exactly.
A lot of yelling and crying and
I never
stuff.
thought about that. Civil, right? Civil war. That's good.
Yeah, it is pretty good for a girl.
Oh.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Apparently they didn't get the memo.
Feminist, right?
Your book. I want to talk about your book briefly, the coloring book. You talk about how hard it is to talk about race. And even when you talk about race, and I saw this in some interviews, they kind of try to paint you as a racist, correct?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's hard even to talk about
We'll
a
leave
book
Fox
about...
and Friends out of this.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say, no.
You got
I mean,
doozy.
people don't really paint me as racist. I mean, my book is just my life experience. You know what I mean? So it's like everything I say is just. Why do you have to make a fan? Why do you arch your eyebrow when I said it was my life
It's
experience?
impossible to have a racist life experience. No one ever has.
No, that's true. But the book and your play are together because it really is about racial division, correct?
It's about racial and national division, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we're supposed to be a melting pot, but it's like all the ingredients in the recipe don't want to be together anymore.
Well, there's a lot of identity. I mean, that's the whole conflict in the country, or one of the conflicts, which I could easily synthesize right now, is 2 ways of looking at the country. Either it's perfect and infallible, like the Pope. I don't know if she's Italian, she believes in him.
I know.
And or it's just like this horrible race. Like there's no place to ever have both at the same time.
Can we start over?
We could start over if right here.
Or I think some of these people should just stay home.
Well,
some of the
that's another
most
way.
mad people can stay home.
Right.
They can have whatever they want in their house under a blanket. They don't have
They
to
can
see
watch your
anything.
special.
Yes.
On Netflix.
A nice plug. I wonder if we should just end there.
Yeah, stay home and watch my special on Netflix.
All right. Colin Quinn, watch his special, Netflix. Get his book, The Coloring Book. It's quite entertaining. We'll be right back after this.
Yes, it's time for Gregmail. The address is gregmail@foxnews.com. I read, he answers, then we dance like no one's watching. Here we go. Okay, the first one is from nobody, or rather, they just felt uncomfortable giving their real name.
I don't blame them.
They say, I think I recall that Trump's angry tweets to people seem to be in the wee hours of the night. Any possibility these are ambient tweets? Instead of ordering an enormous block of cheese at 3 a.m., he just tweet blasts all the people he's mad at.
This is a great point, because this is why I don't do Ambien anymore, because I would end up doing all sorts of things. I would eat a block of cheese. I would write to people I have no memory of. For example, I think this is what I did last time I was on Ambien. God,
You're about to get a call from Ambien to like sponsor you. They're gonna want
so fat back then.
Is that Xanthir and the Magic Flute? What is that?
Yes, it is.
Okay, next one. This is from Ron. Ron asks, Greg, how do you control your emotions when you want to punch someone out?
Oh, that's a great question. Whenever I want to punch someone, I think about how much they will sue me after I punch them. So I hire a complete stranger to punch them. Then I have the complete stranger thrown into a river. Solves a number of problems. By the way, this was the last guy I got in a fight with.
I saw it 3D and it looks fake. It looks like his head came off his body. Like in the movie, that his head is going to be outside. Oh my God.
Yeah, that didn't end well.
You're not supposed to hit them while they're down.
Yeah, that's...
No.
Okay.
Just for people at home, he's fine, meaning
yes.
he's probably dead.
Maybe.
No, he's fine.
Final one is from Steve. He asks, do you ever get really sad that Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston broke up?
Oh, wow. These breakups actually make me feel very happy. For it reminds me that even extremely good-looking people can't seem to make it work. And that Brad Pitt actually got tired of sex with Rachel, and Rachel was tired of having sex with Brad. So now they're on to different people who are also bored with having sex with them. I'm just happy because I'm still seeing both of them on the side, and they don't even know it. Anyway, I'm glad that these two, however, are still together. You know, after gay marriage, they made it work.
They did.
It's the next step, everybody. Dogs and turtles. It's disgusting, but beautiful. All right. Thanks to Ben Domenech, Julie Roginsky, Ben Kissel, Joanne Katherine, Owen Wilson. Yeah, he's here. Colin Quinn, and the liberal panel. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I love you, America.